welcome. And the collective is here for your information, knowledge, and love. What we ask of you is to sit and listen. Listen to the vibrations, listen to the frequency. For it is this frequency, it is this vibration that all is provided, all that you seek for your healing, your knowledge, your wisdom. It is all contained in the frequency and the vibration. For it is the words that the ears will hear, but it is the soul that will understand the vibration. For it is coming time for the end of your calendar year. For many of you, you seek this end time of the year to look forward to what is to come. You put it as a place mark. You put it as a check mark on a calendar, looking forward to what is coming in the new year. But are you exhilarated for what is coming in the new year? Are you prepared for what is coming in the new year? Are you settled in all that you have accomplished in this year? For it is not to understand it by 1 year to the next. It isn't to understand it from a linear time frame. It isn't to understand it within the context of your own time understanding. Because it isn't that you're closing out one calendar year and opening another calendar year. That is a physical action that you do for yourself to remind you of what day it is. But you are entering into the next phase. Multi-dimensional aspects of self are evolving into a higher consciousness plane. For it isn't a linear aspect of yourself. It is this multi-dimensional self. It is this aspect of self that is connected across many different realms. You feel as if it is closing out. You feel as if it is coming to a close. You feel a bit of anticipation. You feel a bit of unsettledness. That is just the human reaction to the natural process that is taking place. Many of you experience this year from year. You understand that something must end and something new comes of it. But what we want you to understand, what we would want you to have a vision of, is that there isn't closure from one into another, but it is an expansion. It is an expansion into another aspect of self. For this year and all of the previous years, you have been molded, you have been shaped, you have been squeezed, shifted, put into directions that you have been uncomfortable with. You've made choices because of the world around you. You can liken this to the birthing process. For you are evolving and you are going to be thrust, expanded out into a new existence. Do not look at it as a new year. Understand it as a new consciousness. You've been brought along to the point at which now you are ready. All humans. Yes, there has been much discussion that there is change taking place. There's been much discussion that there is much chaos that is going to take place. But for many of you, you will not witness that. For many of you, your expansion will be of such that your existence will feel different. Your life will not be observant of all of the chaos. You'll still be here in this third and fourth dimension, but your consciousness will be that much higher that what is taking place will only just be an observance. You will not feel entangled in it. You will not feel pressured into it, because you will know where your existence is within this expansiveness. Your everyday life will continue, but you'll have a different perspective on that everyday life. You'll look at those actions, those things that you do every day through a different set of eyes. The interactions that you have amongst one another, you will sense them differently. You'll understand humans differently. And this is for all humanity to understand. But you may ask, what about those that have not fully awakened? What about those that are still immersed in this three-dimensional plane of chaos? They too will expand. Do not be confused. This is not the ascension, but this is the point at which it all begins to move quicker and quicker. So even those that are reluctant to move forward, even those that are reluctant to understand any aspect of self, they understand the human perspective. They too are going to be awoken in the middle of the night with questions. They'll have visions that they cannot explain, and they'll hold it all to themselves until it comes a point at which many of you have experienced that you can no longer contain it, and you must seek someone. That is exactly why all of you are where you need to be. So if you are to put a calendar year on it, yes, 2024 is moving in a direction in which there is going to be great expansion for humanity. 2024 is going to be a place in which life as you understand it, on one level, will remain the same, but on another level, will look completely different than the previous lives and years that you've existed in. So it isn't to say be prepared, it is to say enjoy the journey. For all of you have placed yourself here along this journey. All of you have contracted for yourself to be observant of what is going to take place. So allow yourself time between now and this new physical year that is coming to give yourself gratitude that you deserve. Give yourself the love that you deserve. Give yourself the comfort you deserve. For you have done great work. You have used all of your strength, all of your time, all of your knowledge to get you to this point. Take a breath. Reflect upon those years past and recognize in yourself what is to come and where you are to be within it. For humanity is accelerating their consciousness. All in preparation, yes, for ascension. But humanity itself is evolving. You'll be more observant of it in the new year. If you have questions, please begin.
Thank you for your presence and thank you for that beautiful message. What about the passage that we're in now, running from 12:12 to 12:21? What do we need to know about that time frame?
This is the point of reflection. This passage, as you were saying, this passage is one of an energetic reflection. Allow it to be that for yourself. An energetic reflection of your existence. For many humans do not ever look back upon their own existence. They look forward. They're trained to look forward. Never look back, always look forward. Keep your head up, look forward. But you have to take time to reflect. You have to take time to reflect and observe where you have come from, what you've accomplished, and allow yourself that gratitude, that love, that comfort that you seek. For you can acquire that from many different places. But what will be the most fulfilling is that comes from self. When you can sit honestly and reflect back to the past and allow this time, this emergence of energy that is present, to give you the comfort to reflect back. Because in doing so, it is going to strengthen you. It is going to strengthen that resolve. It will give you the energy to look forward to the next coming year.
Good to know. Thank you. Judy's curious why she feels so strongly not to commit to anything right now. Is that part of this energy? Is that a collective issue or a personal issue for her?
For what you are sensing is just that. It is for self. It is this cocooning. It is this hibernating. It is this inward reflection. Do not feel pressured that you are not doing anything, for you are doing just what you need for self. You have to understand, this is for all to understand, that you cannot continually march up the hill to the hilltop without taking rest, because you will never make it. So honor those moments at which you feel as if you wish not to do a thing. It will come even more important in the next coming years. As the energy begins to amplify, as it begins to progress even faster and faster towards the ascension point, there are going to be more moments of those periods of rest, hibernation, cocooning, in order for you to emerge even stronger. So take this time to be human, to playfully be human. Re-energize, recharge. And then you will know, as you have in the past, exactly when that shell begins to crack open. And when you emerge, you're stronger than it was when you entered.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Mark is curious about a friend of his who claims to be part of a secret upper echelon of humans. Mark feels that these tales might not be legit. What can you share to him about that, please?
And for the period of time that you are entering into, this cycle of time now and the next coming year. This aspect of, and shall it be understood as discernment, gains strength. It gains a clarity that hasn't been there before. And this is, again, for all humans, all humanity. Many of you understand how quickly your discernment is growing and strengthening. This is just another example. For as the immediate moment at which the information was brought through, you already knew the answer. You already knew the discernment of understanding that I'll listen, but I won't acknowledge. I'll listen, but that does not align to my understanding. That is your discernment immediately kicking in. Where in the past, discernment wouldn't immediately kick in. It would allow the human to interact with it until there was a point at which there needed to be a shift, a change. That was to a strengthening point. But this aspect is strengthening even faster than you can comprehend. More and more will be thrust upon your path in order for you to discern what resonates with your frequency field. And it isn't just your human frequency field, it is the divine and it is the knowledge frequency field that you hold around you. Much will be thrown at it because moving into this next cycle of time, it is going to be increasingly difficult for humans to understand where truth is and truth isn't. Truth is not going to look like what you believed it to be in the past, for you are already starting to see that. This is why it is this immediate, effective understanding what is truth that is critical. So yes, this aspect of being in an upper echelon of humans, where does that place them? Is that something special? Is that something aside from their humanity? For if you were to look at your own existence, and this isn't to allow your ego to have a play, but it is, if you were to look at your own existence, would you not say that you are part of an upper echelon? All those that work within the energetic field, all those that work within the healing field, all those that work as light workers, would you not say that they are a part of an upper echelon of humans? For there is no echelon, but if the human wishes to look at it, then yes, you can place yourself in whatever echelon you wish to put yourself into. But it is the discernment that is most important here. And how rapidly the decisions are made. That is trusting in self, and that will continue to grow.
Good to know. Thank you for that. Wendy is curious if her guides or galactic family have advice for the next few months for her, please.
Allow the recognition of the voice to grow stronger. Give the voice, not your physical voice. It is this voice that has been speaking to you. It is this voice that has been whispering in your ear. It is this voice that has been nudging you. Allow yourself time to strengthen that. But not by setting aside time to listen even more. It is to a point, and this is helpful for many things, it is to find yourself at a point of being distracted in your humanness and doing something just purely human. All the while, the little whisper is there speaking. What you're trying to do is allow that whisper to grow into a strong voice. And you can do that by simply enough ignoring it, but doing something to hold your attention so that you are not distracted by the whisper, by the voice, that is trying to say something and give you information. It needs to strengthen to a resonant voice that you hear. You've heard it, but only in quiet moments. You've heard it, but only in those moments where there's nothing else that's distracting you. It's a matter of practice. It's a matter of just as much as you have trained yourself to do certain things, spirit needs a little bit of training as well. They have to speak a bit louder. And this is how to go about that. That is what will be taking place in the next several months. You have a bit of time before your next, shall it be said, iteration of change. This is the practice point. This is the playground. This is the sandbox to play in these next several months. Once you are done in the playground, then beyond those several months, 3 to 4 months, this aspect of self is going to have clarity beyond what you recognize now. This clarity is going to come about in ways that you will know things while speaking to someone, while doing something with someone. You'll know the outcomes. You'll know what is to be said. You'll know the answers before the questions are asked. This is the clarity that is growing stronger and stronger and stronger within. But it is all being strengthened here in the playground, the sandbox. So allow yourself to continue to play. This time is yours. Then you can put it all together and use it as you wish.
Awesome, thank you. And Sophie, who's with us this evening, is curious what her guides need her to know tonight, please.
It is time now to bring in much of what has been fragmented of yourself, much of the energy fragments, much of the pieces that have been spun out. Provide healing here, provide a prayer there, provide comfort here. All these bits and pieces need to come back home. There's a bit of exhaustion that's in place. This is why it is time to bring those pieces back in to make this solid once again. And as you do not leave it just pulling it back, but acknowledge it. Thank you. You served appropriately that piece that I provided to this person for their healing. Thank you, but I need that back. But I'm going to leave you with this abundant amount of gratitude, love, compassion. That is the replacement for the piece of you that you've left there for so long. Bring that piece back with you. Leave that with them. That's the universe's gift to them. Bring all of those pieces back. Prepare yourself for the coming year. Then you can start the journey strong and prepared.
Excellent, thank you. So Linda says when she was young, she had several experiences while in a hypnagogic state. Her spine would begin to stiffen, accompanied by a sound, and the louder the sound grew, the more immobilized she became until she couldn't move. Those experiences obviously terrified her, especially since she could feel them coming on. Can you tell her what the sounds were? Why did her body stiffen, and why did this happen? What was going on, please?
if we're within this state, this entry point, the immobilization, this aspect of being, shall it be said, paralyzed, this was all preparatory. Everything from the stiffening of one's physical existence to the audible tune. For the audible experience is to immobilize the thought process. The audible experience is to immobilize the hearing, the thought processing. The immobilization of the body is to fix it into place for preparation. Now, granted, yes, it was uncomfortable and disturbing. It is to rewrite that script. It is to rewrite that memory point. And think of yourself as a bit of a computer at this point, and you go back to that memory point and you erase it. And it is now time to rewrite the programming, to understand the benefits, to benefit the physical body, the energetic body, and the multidimensional framework in which you sit. So imagine yourself at a keyboard and you are looking at a piece of code and you erase that piece of code, and now you're going to input in a new memory point. And that new memory point is this upgrade that you received during this point, all the while being immobilized, because this is the only way that your physical body was going to be still long enough for this upgrade. Because of the physicality of life that you had at that point, this was necessary. This wasn't done by someone. This was all aligned appropriately through your contract. You knew that at that particular day, that particular time, that particular point, that needed to take place. And so that is what incurred across the body. So what you have to understand is the outcome of that, the upgrade of that. This is the point at which much began to shift, much began to change, perspectives began to settle in a bit differently, perspectives of how to understand other humans, perspectives of how to associate yourself within different arrangements, not only physically, but energetically. It is this point at which communication became even stronger. It is this point at which, shall it be said, that this alignment to spirit began to interlock itself like a lock and key. The two pieces were aligned appropriately. They were already on the way of being aligned, but this locked everything into place. So it is to understand that this was purposefully done through you to upgrade so that your, shall it be said, simply enough, your gifts were amplified. But in the moment, and even after, in the human framework, it was disturbing. It was uncomfortable. It left you in a state of confusion. Allow yourself to rewrite that program, that memory point, so that it can be recognized for its benefits.
Outstanding, thank you. The next several questions we'd like to ask of whichever galactic beings would like to join us to answer those. We'd like to start off with a couple of galactic alignments. Is there someone there that would like to help us with that, please?
Please proceed.
Are we speaking to the Zeta or whom?
It is the aspect of the Arcturian councils.
Wonderful, thank you. Deborah Gerard, who's not with us this evening, is curious about her primary galactic alignment and her source cluster, please.
Primary, Orion. Source, Palladian.
Wonderful, thank you. And Jacqueline, who is with us this evening, would also like her primary and her source cluster.
Primary, Lyran. Source, Palladian.
That is exactly what mine are. Do she and I know each other as either of those two aspects?
Both sit upon healing councils, but in your human perspective, holding that for that council.
Wonderful, thank you for that. Lauren W., who is not with us this evening, has a starship in her left eye, or what looks like a starship. Is there a meaning to that? What is that? Reveal for her, please.
For that is imparted within the physical eye. This symbol that is seen. This has not been just from this lifetime. This goes back many lifetimes. It cascades lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. This is an optical point. It isn't a representation of a star or starship, but it is an optical point. Once the understanding is fully embedded, think of it as wearing a pair of glasses that have two lenses within it, one for distance and one for close. This optical point, once fully recognized, and once the recognition takes place, then the energetic alignments begin to switch on the activity. So once all of this is appropriately aligned, it'll be as if you could peer through this optical point to any point, any star, any place that is here around your planet, and pinpoint a specific ship, a specific cluster of beings, a specific council of beings, for they will all have a specific signature, and it will be represented there in the optical point. Now, it may be difficult at first, but it is just as easy as learning how to see through a new pair of glasses. It takes time for the eyes to adjust to something more clear. Here, too, it will be an optical point that will just take a shift of focus, then to observe what is just beyond your, say, planetary atmosphere.
Very cool. Thank you for that. When we were talking to the Zeta about stargates, he said that sometimes they're used to transport heavy payloads through these stargates. What would constitute a heavy payload?
Or in your human conception of weight, you are limited. Therefore, you would think that a vehicle in which you drive would be a heavy payload. A plane in which you travel would be a heavy payload, because that is your concept of weight. This aspect of moving heavy payloads, you have to understand. Many believe the aspect of your large pyramid-shaped structures throughout your world, many of them were built when they were but they were built off planet. And they were brought through heavy payload to the assigned location. So this is why it is difficult to find any of the remnants in your archaeological digs of the tools that were utilized to craft many of said structures. This is because they were not built upon your planet. Some were, but many were not. This is what constitutes a heavy payload.
That's heavy, all right. Can you tell us also, there's a little bit of confusion about the difference between a stargate, a portal, and a vortex. Can you clear that up for us, please?
Envision a vortex, nothing more than a funnel of energy. Something that has a wide end at one end and a very narrow end at another. Your atmospheric condition of a tornado is a very clean representation of what a vortex is. Those can open by any point. If you wish to create a vortex, which at times you have in order to clear specific energies out of a specific space, you are creating a vortex. You're opening a vortex of energy to funnel in that is not needed for it to then be transmitted somewhere else. A portal, think of portals as being interdimensional, yes, but mainly they are utilized for physical being transfer. Singular groups, but mainly for physical being transfer. Yes, some portals will open to allow craft to enter in and out. But the primary aspect of portals is being transfer. Stargates, being interdimensional, yes, but for much larger, much more centered group transfers, say a group of 100 or more beings wish to go from one galaxy to another galaxy, they are going to enter through a stargate. If they're wanting to go into another point in time, they're going to utilize a stargate. If they're going to shift one physical object to another place in time, they'll utilize a stargate.
Very helpful. Thank you for that. And we talked about upper echelon in an ego-based, but the Zeta also talked about upper echelon galactic beings needing to go through stargates very quickly to get from one place to another. Who would upper echelon be in that case?
For the easiest reference within your human time frame and your human calculation of understanding, it is this the individual that you understand is Valiant Thor. Because of the transference that needed to take place immediately from one point to others, this would utilize a stargate. It is to bring in from a different time frame to the local time frame. He utilized a stargate. It is these understandings of beings that are amongst you that participate within your government functions. They participate within your everyday life, but they are more of a, shall it be said, if you were to understand your military, there are those of much lower rank and much higher rank. The upper echelon are nothing more than higher ranking beings amongst all others. And they are immediately called to go from one location to another, different time points, because it is all taking place at once. And you already understand that through your quantum field exercises. If it is all taking place at once, and this has an outcome here, but it changes an outcome there, these upper echelon beings must be able to jump time before it takes place in order to observe the outcomes before they take place. So they utilize the stargates. For if it is lower echelon or lower ranking beings, they'll utilize portals to take them to and from locations. But if they require to go to other time points, they'll utilize a stargate.
So stargates are necessary for different time.
This is correct. That is the primary focus, is to take you into another time point. You can go from the same time point or from one point on your planet to another point, but it is not as effective. It is a bit of a waste of energy. It is more structured for that. That is to take it outside of your time frame that is current into another time frame or another dimensional point of another time existence.
Fascinating. Thank you for all of that. Now, Valiant Thor, my understanding is, came in a ship and landed at the Pentagon. Is that accurate?
That is the accurate representation for the human construct to understand. See, as a stargate is brought into existence, it can take whatever form it wishes. It will be that the human framework will observe. So in this case, a ship landing there at your government house, it's nothing more than a stargate representing itself as a physical ship so that it has some construct of understanding. If it were just to be an envelope that opened up and Valiant stepped through, that would be much more difficult for the human thought process to comprehend. Thusly, any actions thereafter would be much more difficult to ascertain through the human thought process.
Surely. Thank you for that. Kathy is curious if you all can tell us what's going on in the area that we call the Bermuda Triangle.
For that particular region of your planet, in your time frame as it exists now, it is a dormant portal surrounded by many different energy vortices. So it is to understand this portal that was existent there is one that opens when it was active. It would open into other dimensional planes, but yet within the same time period. Not of your planet, but shall it be said, sister planets. All lined together, all connected together by the same portal. Now, the activities for themselves throughout many of your generations have subsided now because of the vortices have begun to collapse. The portal is still existent, but the portal cannot operate unless the vortices are present. The last of the vortices spun down 15 to 20 years ago. So it is to understand that it exists. There is a portal there. This is why if you transverse that location with any sort of navigation equipment, it will at times begin to shift erratically because of the aspect of the portal being still open, but not actively utilized to go anywhere. It is the vortices that keep it active. They are no longer in existence.
So not every ship or plane disappeared.
This is correct.
So the ones that did had written in their contract to do so?
This is correct. These were all pre-assigned to understand that, to understand this process. It wasn't that all planes and all ships disappeared. It was only select ones, but yet others reappeared that had no existence here. Much of that has not been disclosed. There have been many ships and many planes that appeared from out of nowhere, but have come across from other dimensional sister planes through to you. And now they are now hidden away within your archives. That is the history that you are not aware of. This in time will all be disclosed, but at this particular point, all you know of is what has disappeared from your dimensional plane.
Thank you. And why did that portal need to shut down at this time, or 15 years ago?
Therefore, there was only an extended period of time that it was to remain open. This opened and was utilized from the point at which your continental shifts took place. When the East Coast severed and now is part of your European coast, that opened up and allowed the vortices to begin and the portal to fully be opened. It was a transference device between different planets of your liking.
Wasn't there also a portal then like that up in New England or New York when that split?
This is correct. The one that you are speaking of is the Montauk vortex.
And there are more than that.
This is correct. They line the East Coast. Many of them have been, shall we say, severed. And so they're no longer in existence.
What about other portals on Earth that would act in a similar fashion as the Bermuda Triangle one?
For many of your mountain ranges, not only in your United States, but across all of the European continent and through the Asia continent, many of the mountain ranges have portals that are still activated, still open. These are being monitored by your Agarthans. They monitor these portals primarily for receiving, then bringing forth. Receiving in new interdimensional beings, if it were, and getting them acclimated for their arrival here upon the planet. They bring them in to your inner sanctum. They get them prepared to then come to the surface and be among you. Many more are going to be coming, but this is only the beginning understanding of all the different portals around your planet.
Fascinating. And when they come, then are they coming in a human form?
They're not coming in within a human form.
I mean, to the surface.
Yes, once they come to the surface, they are in the appropriate human form.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. At this time, Maria has a question about how Jesus would like us to celebrate his upcoming birthday. Would he like to share?
Greetings all. For you sit in observance of my birth, whether it is my physical birth or my risen birth. It is to understand this life that you exist in. It is to understand your divine. For there is no difference between that is my existence and your existence, other than time. We are all of one divine aspect. We have all been cleaved from one divine source. You have, as it has been said, all the gifts that can ever be and ever will be reside within you. You hold all of the knowledge that is and ever will be, because you have that divine connection. It isn't by the teachings or the practice that you follow, but it is here that will reveal all truths. It isn't any of the teachings, it isn't anything that you follow that will reveal anything to you. But what can be revealed resides here. It has always been there. So in this time of reflection upon my coming, take time to reflect here for yourself. Take time to be present in your own existence, knowing this divine aspect that you carry with you with every breath. For it is only you that can, as the stories are told, part any sea, move any mountain. For it is you. For it is you as a divine being that sits here now to know the truth that is you, to know the true beauty and divine being that you are. You can celebrate all you wish, how you wish, but understand that there is no difference. There is no difference between that existence of myself and the existence of you today. It is just time. So take this time to reflect inward and reveal the divine beauty to all.
Thank you so very much for stepping in to speak with us this evening.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to ask the collective for any closing remarks, please.
Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a cliff. And what you see beyond the edge of that cliff is this coming year. It isn't to stand there in fear. It isn't to stand there and quake in fear that you're standing there at the abyss of the coming year. But it is to observe out into the distance, out to the horizon. With the strength of who you are, with the strength of knowing that what is coming, you are prepared for. No matter how it is perceived to you or anyone else, you are prepared. You have been prepared. And as you begin to grow in that understanding of self, that you are prepared and you have been prepared, you begin to see a bridge beautifully being built into the next coming year that you can safely walk across, observe all of the beauty around you, in the strength and knowing that you are ready. For the coming year is going to be the year that you show the world who you are. It'll be the year that you have created for yourself. It will be the year that you are present for all as they begin to awaken.
Lovely. Thank you so very much for your presence this evening.
And as always, the collective is here for your information, knowledge, and love.